Hey everybody, and welcome to the Revolution Remix podcast. If you like what you hear and you're having a good time, please hit the subscribe button down below. You can also find me on Instagram at Real Deal Vinyl Review and also on Twitter at RD Vinyl Review. Cheers everybody. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the Revolution Remix podcast. Today with me we have a special guest, one of my really good friends I've known for God knows how long. It's over 20 years, I have to say. It has to be.
Yeah, because you were friends with my little brother. And
Yeah. So this is this is my friend John Lawler today, and we're discussing U2's The Joshua Tree album. So I'm excited to discuss this with you today. So, what is your overall feeling on U2?
U2 is one of my top 5 bands. My top 5 floats in and out depending on the mood I'm in, but they are one of the top 5 that stay up there all the time.
Interchangeable on 1 through 5, or just they go in and out?
No, 1 through 5 are like the same 5.
Okay, but they
bands,
just go in different successions.
Yeah. Sometimes The Clash will be number 1. Sometimes Prince is number 1. Sometimes U2 is number 1. It really varies that much.
Okay. I mean, I always have my top 3. It's always like that. And I think as you get older too, they say you get very you get very set in your ways, I would say. For music, they say, I think like after 30 or something, you're pretty much listening to what you listened to when you were younger. And I'm like, I definitely see that all the time with the stuff I listen to. But obviously, there's new music as well.
Yeah, I think if you're not actively listening and searching out new bands, you're just going to listen to the bands that you loved when you were, say...
In high school? Well, for me.
Yeah, like high school / college.
Yeah, I think that's when your music you kind of broaden your horizon a little bit too, I think, when you go to college.
Yeah, because I think when you're growing up from like 1 until, we'll say, what's like middle school age, like 13, 12,
yeah,
13?
Yeah.
So 1 through 12 and 13, you're listening to whatever your parents play because they're in control of the radio. And then
So what was that? What were your parents listening to?
All right, my parents were kind of rad in that they listened to everything. Like, I can remember listening to... the Commodores and Lionel Richie and the Beatles, and I can remember some Simon and Garfunkel, and I can remember things like The Police and Michael Jackson. So I think that they were listening to everything from their childhood up until the 80s when I was a child. And I can definitely also remember them playing U2. And I'm not sure if that's where my fondness of U2 comes from, but it's a band that I think my whole family enjoys. So there's that.
So for you, what sets U2 apart from any other band? What is distinct in your eyes about them?
So with U2, they have a very distinct sound. It's not super distinct within rock, but you know the Edge's guitar playing right away because he uses so many effects.
Especially he uses a delay. I forget what he was in that documentary with Jack White and Robert Plant. Do you remember that?
Jimmy Page, maybe, not Robert Plant.
Oh my God, why did I? Oh my God, I'm fucking losing my mind today. No, you're right. No, Jimmy Page. It's Jimmy Page, Jack White, and the Edge. And they discuss guitars.
Yeah.
And he was showing his guitar pedal, which was a Electro Harmonix Memory Man.
Yep.
But it makes his guitar so distinct as well.
Yeah. He definitely uses that, and it's very it's almost like wind chimes would be like the best description, the way that his guitar sounds on a lot of songs. Not every song, but there's just that changiness that's kind of beautiful in a way. And then Adam Clayton and Larry Mullen Jr. as the drummer, that rhythm section. I'm gonna say this, and I might take a lot of crap for it, but I think they're one of the most underrated rhythm sections for the size of band that U2 is. Like up there with, say, The Who, or a band similar to that, where the bass just is really driving the songs. And you don't notice it as much as other bands, but it's there. And Larry Mullen Jr.'s drumming is really, I don't have the musical vernacular for drumming, so it's just there. Like, there's nothing fancy to it, but it fills up a room. And actually, like, to the point where I think it was before the Joshua Tree was recorded, he had to have surgery on his hands. Like, he couldn't play drums the same way
Oh, really?
that he had on, say, Boy or War. And if you listen to those, you can definitely tell the drumming, because if you listen to the drumming on Sunday Bloody Sunday, just listen to how hard he's hitting that snare. There is some emotion in that. And the fact that they started out kind of as a post-punk band and then just became straight ahead rock.
Yeah, there is definitely a big distinction from before the Joshua Tree and then the Joshua Tree and moving forward from there. You know, you said like they have the punk rock roots and that attitude still kept with them as well.
Yeah, their lyrics, the lyrics that Bono writes, or Bono and the Edge write, whoever joins him on writing the lyrics. There's songs about love. There's songs about politics. There's, songs that have faith interwoven into it. And I just feel like their songs are very much represent humanity well.
Well said. So, let's see where to start. I guess a little bit about the album.
Yep.
It was released March 9th, 1987. Recorded between January 1986 and January 1987. The whole album runs a total of 50 minutes, 11 seconds. It's on Island Records, and it's sandwiched in before Wide Awake in America, which was 1985, and Rattle and Hum, 1988. So you two had a few years, between Wide Awake in America and the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
You had a couple years, so that's...
Well, Wide Awake in America is more of an EP.
Really?
Yeah, it's 5 songs, I want to say. It's some stuff that didn't make it onto the Unforgettable Fire, and it has a live version of Bad, which might be my favorite version of that song, other than the one from Live Aid.
Well, it does say EP. That's why I have you in here.
Yeah.
Because I always say this on my podcast. I do not claim to be an expert whatsoever at all. But, that's the fun of it too.
Yes.
So
I'll drop knowledge where I can.
Exactly, and then I'll drop incorrect knowledge as we go along.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
And then if you want to check it out, then you can do it. Do it if you want later.
Yep.
And research it. But okay, so the top singles from the Joshua Tree were With or Without You, released March 21st, 1987. I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, released May 1987. Where the Streets Have No Name, released August 7th, 1987. In God's Country, released November 16th, 1987. And that was in North America only. Mm-hmm. And then One Tree Hill, which was released March 1988 in Australia and New Zealand only.
Yep.
I'm on my Wikipedia. So, not even saying that those are the best sources as well, but it's what I got.
It is.
So, also the album won Grammy Awards for Album of the Year and Best Rock Performance by a Duo or a Group with Vocal in 1988. And then, as it says, the group supported the record with the Joshua Tree tour throughout 1987. So how would you like to do this? Do you want to go by through the songs, or like maybe would you like to talk about your top 3 songs that you like about the album?
I mean, we can do the whole album. We can do top songs. We can. But do you know what the working title for the album was originally going to be?
No, what was it?
It was actually going to be a double album, and it was going to be called The Two Americas.
Interesting.
And I've never, I don't know if what they were going with The Two Americas was like North America and South America, or if it was like the divide between the cities and, say, the country.
Yeah.
In the U.S. Because the album is a lot of Americana brought into it, But
and obviously this was at the Joshua Tree. Or
it's a national park, but that album, the Joshua Tree that's on the album cover, it's not in Joshua Tree National Park.
I did hear that. One thing I actually did hear.
They were driving around, and Anton Corbin, who shot the photos and the cover art, saw this lone Joshua Tree out there and was like, "We need to take a photo of this." And they were like, "Okay." and they took the photos there. And I think on Behind the Music I saw this, but
My other second source of reference.
sweet. I think it's Adam who's talking about how the band would make the photographer, who is, I think, German, I want to say. I might have that wrong. But anyway, he's European. They would make him pronounce Joshua Tree, which he would say Joshua Tree. And they thought it was hilarious. And they were like, well, that's the album title.
Okay, well, why not? I mean, so do you know anything about an actual Joshua Tree? I really don't have any.
Do you want to know what the story of the Joshua Tree is?
Sure, why not?
All right. So the legend of the Joshua Tree, the actual tree is that if you've ever seen one, it's got like arms that are all going every which way and mixed up. The legend is that when Moses was leading the Israelites through the desert, God would give him direction through the Joshua Tree. And so eventually, when Joshua took over from Moses there, at the end, Joshua got the final instructions from God as to how to get to the promised land from the Joshua Tree. And that's the legend. I mean, that's probably has nothing to do with it, but that's the legend.
That's a great story, though. And
It is.
Wow, that's what, see? I am learning something every single day now. Man, I'm feeling good. I am feeling great.
Gotta get that education, Joe.
All right, so yeah, let's start off with side one of the album. So it starts out with Where the Streets Have No Name. I think that's a great way to kickstart the album.
It is like just that the organ and the sounds that are just coming up, where they bring up the levels and it just hits you, and it's straight up go time from there.
Yeah, because it has that build, and then you talk about Edge's guitar.
Yes.
That as you, how did you say it? Like a wind chime?
It kind of has like that
like
wind chime going to it. Yeah.
And yeah, you could definitely hear that.
Well, here's the thing about this, and I don't know if the Edge did this on purpose. Like, I've seen U2 a number of times, and Bono always calls the Edge a scientist. But so this mathematician figured out the ratio to the beats per minute of once he figured out the delay and what note was the delay, what note was the actual guitar. It works out into a ratio that comes to E, and what E is the ratio that apparently comes up in math all the time for the perfect number.
Wow.
And so, like in art, the golden ratio? Have you ever heard that?
I've heard of it. I'm not great in math.
So
if you want to explain, maybe if you know.
Basically, like a golden ratio is what every artist is trying to get. And whether he tried and set it up this way or not, or if it just happened by happy accident.
Yeah.
It comes out to almost a perfect ratio of beats per minute to that guitar on that song. And that is why that song, I believe, has the staying power that it does. I could be full of crap on that.
No, you're definitely not. Because, as a guitar player and having a delay pedal, I always try to somewhat aspire to have that kind of sound, that delay sound that the Edge has.
Right.
Because even if you buy the exact pedal, you can get it to sound like that, but it's just not the Edge.
Yeah, you're never going to hit it because it's whatever the timing is that he has figured out is just beautiful. And actually, if you watch that documentary, there's like a scene where he's trying to do it himself again. Like, he's like, that's not quite it. That's not quite it. And it takes him like 10 tries in the documentary to do it.
Yeah, I remember that. Like you said, it is a science and kind of looks like a scientist doing an experiment, really, of really trying to get that exact, like you said, that exact ratio. Because even with delay pedals and whatnot too, it all is about ratios and tempo and seeing what the delay is, and so it's amazing what he can do. And and after that album, there's millions of people that want to mimic what he does. So
yeah, I mean, you hear that still to this day. You hear people using echo and delay and what have you. And then that song just has really wonderful lyrics that it just starts off, it kicks in with I want to run, I want and it's like, all right, this album is going.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite lyric possibly in that song, or?
I don't know if I do or not.
Well, I mean, you just kind of said the first two lines.
Yeah,
You
I
know, I
mean,
want to run, I want to hide, I want to tear down the walls that hold me inside.
yeah, and I mean, that's just the best way to kick off an album, I think, because it just goes.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like it starts off like almost it's silence building up, building up,
Yeah.
building up, building up, and then just like Bono just kicks in, you
Yeah.
know, or even just the music just kicks in, and it's just like kicking through the door.
Yeah.
Of, like, you know, just kicking down the door and really and just being like, we're here. So I think that's it's a really good start and intro to this album.
That, and I think that the meaning of the song is pretty great too. Saying where the streets have no name, and people always kind of wonder what it's about. And for the longest time, I thought, oh, it's a song about heaven or some utopian place, but it's actually about. Do you know about the troubles in Northern Ireland? Well, like Ireland, basically.
Well,
all
yeah,
throughout the
between
60s,
the north and the
70s. Yeah.
south, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, like, if you were in Belfast, like during this time, you would be able to basically know a person's religion just by the street that they lived on. And if you're a Protestant going on a Catholic street, you're going to get killed. You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And so you don't go there. Like, you don't associate with those people. And the song is saying, I want to go to a place where none of that shit matters.
Yeah. That absolutely, yeah, that makes total
And
sense.
it's, I think, a great message, because you think of Ireland as, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying this the wrong way, but like, you still have, like Muslims versus Jews in the Middle East to this day. But
Yeah.
if, you don't think of in a European country that Protestants and Catholics are going to be killing each other just for that matter. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the craziness of it all, between the split between Catholicism and Protestantism. I don't know how the guys in the band were raised. Do you know if they were?
I don't know. I mean, I know that they, at least, in books that I've read in interviews, they claim Christianity, but I don't know if they're Catholic or Protestant.
Yeah, I didn't know where they fell within Ireland itself.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're from Dublin, so I don't think it matters as much. Though.
Yeah, because I think there's still, there's a mix there, but still like not.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better.
Yes.
Over the years, but I'm sure there's still people that still cling on to their views and cling on to the past.
Yeah.
I mean, if you even go back, like you go back to the Reformation, or even, when England separated from the church,
yeah,
with King Henry VIII, that was a big to do, because you don't go against the Catholic Church at all. This is from me being a Catholic, or being a quote unquote Catholic, whatever you want to call it. But it gets to the point where it's like now, like I see the difference of how insane it was when that probably obviously happened.
Yeah.
But then you get to the point now where you're in the 60s or whatever, even however far going back, but it gets to the point now where it feels like it's been watered down so much that it kind of just feels like you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
But to some people, it's definitely not, you know?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just Catholic Protestant. It was loyal to England, loyal to Ireland, so.
Well, then that's where you still have the two separate flags.
Yeah, well, they're two separate countries to an extent, so.
Yeah. So you have, I'm trying to remember everything. The Republic.
The IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and then you have, I can't remember.
I'm just trying to remember.
UDA.
Okay.
Is one.
I'm just trying to remember which. I know I'm being so stupid, and being so ignorant, but I'm trying to remember which flag's which. Because I know. Oh, obviously I know which flag's which. I'm just trying to put it with the group, because obviously the green, white, and orange is the Catholic. A lot of it, because you see that in every Catholic church you go to, that's Irish, and then the other flag is based off of the British flag.
It's the red stripe on white, I think.
Yeah, so it's definitely part, and that's where you see Great Britain. That's all that encompasses the whole thing. But But yeah, it's just the craziness that was going on in Ireland. And, you know, I watch all these, you know, watch all the TV shows and stuff, the travel stuff. And, you know, people say it's getting better. And why can't people just have a Guinness and relax?
That's right. Get along. Probably should be having a Guinness right now. We're talking about, you know, you two.
We should. It's a little, actually, I was going to say it's a little early, but it's not.
It's almost 1 o'clock, Joe.
And it's Sunday. All right, so let's keep going on. So the next song is I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Another great song. The whole side A is just just great in general.
I think side A might be. I don't know if I want to make this claim, but I'm going to make it. It's not.
Why not? That's what we're here for.
It's not a hill that I'm willing to die on, but it's definitely a point that I can make, and I feel certain that it is quality when I say this. Side A of the Joshua Tree might be the best side A ever.
That's some high praise.
Well, you can still hear, where does side A end? Does side A end on Running to Stand Still, or does side A end on Bullet the Blue Sky?
Running to Stand Still.
All right. The first 4 songs you will still hear on the radio today.
No, absolutely.
They are probably the 4 songs that you think of when it comes to U2, other than the song One.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to say that might be, if it's not the best side A, it is a top side A.
Yeah, it's a contender at minimum.
Yes.
At minimum, it's a contender.
Yeah.
No, but I absolutely agree with you, because still haven't found what I'm looking for. Like, once again, like it's got a good beat. It's got a good, as you talked about, the rhythm section. Like, it's just so solid.
Their rhythm section on this album is top notch. They were in a groove, which is, you know, no pun intended when talking about a rhythm section.
No. I mean, you're right though. Just there has to be that connection between a bass player and the drummer. Keeping everything moving and keeping everything, like, keeping the feel of the whole song, mm-hmm. You know? So do you have a favorite part of the song, or, because once again, it's like you said, it's one of the most radio friendly songs.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I have a favorite part. I think all 4 minutes and 38 seconds are my favorite part of the song.
I'm just trying to see if anything, like, didn't know if there's anything that absolutely stands out in your eyes, or just overall you just think it's a great song.
I mean, there are live versions that are, you know, just really beautiful. Like the live version of on Rattle and Hum, there's a gospel choir with it.
Nice.
And I think that might be the best part about this song, is that it borrows that gospel sound that is very American.
Once again, as you said, bringing in that American.
Yeah. It is not something that is European. It's the songs of, you know, say just that gospel feel that. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right, and that even goes obviously past U2. All the, you know, going back to the Beatles and going back mm-hmm. to, you know, other European artists, you know, British, Irish, that were getting the sounds out of the South.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, Little Richard, Fats Domino, like, really important African American musicians. And, like, and it's just funny because I don't know, this is off topic or random, but Tutti Frutti by, you know, Little Richard. Mm-hmm. Pat Boone covered it.
Really?
And made and elevated that song, like, way more than actually Little Richard did at that point.
I don't know if, to stay off topic for a minute, but
why not?
I don't know if there is somebody that is more important to rock and roll than Little Richard, and he doesn't get credit for it.
You're absolutely right.
Because if you think about, like, all those early Beatles albums,
they were just trying to mimic Little Richard.
Well, but they're also covering him.
Yeah, that's
so
true
many
too,
times. Like, it's just covers of his songs, and I hope that, you know, he knows that he is that important to rock. I mean, I'm sure somebody has told him, but
I'm sure he knows. Yeah, I'm sure he knows.
But
no, you're absolutely right. Like I said, like, he really paved the way for a lot of these artists. And then, like you said, I think in, like, an interview with Paul McCartney one time, he was just, like, writing songs back then too. He thought, well, how would Little Richard do this?
Yeah, I think I have heard that. I think that's where the woo came from. Like, that he'll throw out every once in a while.
And I'm going to delve a little deeper into the rabbit hole, and off topic, but going upon that, apparently, Paul McCartney would have these Little Richard parties. I don't know the extent of it.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It was an interview that I saw with Eric Clapton, because during that night he wrote "Wonderful Tonight."
Did they just like listen to Little Richard's
That's what I was,
albums
like,
and then
wondering.
they're like, what can we take from this?
That's what I don't know. He's Eric Clapton said in an interview, he's like, Paul McCartney would have these Little Richard parties, but he wouldn't go into it. And basically Eric Clapton was talking about like getting ready to go, and then him drinking too much at the party. So that's where "Wonderful Tonight" comes from.
Wow.
Maybe I should look into what these Little Richard parties is. I hope it's not like a code for something.
Yeah.
Code for some crazy stuff going down.
We just sit on a piano and just kick it and punch it. You know.
Yeah, but whatever. going off the whole that whole tangent, but like I said, it was that, you brought in that gospel. They brought in that gospel feel, and I would say like lyric wise, I was just reading over the lyrics again, and this is just what stuck out to me was, "I've spoke with the tongue of angels. I've held the hand of the devil."
I'm pretty sure we've all done that at some point in our life.
Yeah.
It's very relatable. I assume that everyone has done that in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, we're human.
Yeah.
So there's, we're human. So we're always going to play that duality.
Yes.
Of good and evil. Because it's in both, it's in all of us in general.
Which I think might be the theme of this album. Like, I think that might be a theme of the album that nobody really notices, is that duality of good and evil. We'll talk about it as we get further in the album, because I'll let you know my thoughts on some of the other songs.
Okay, well, next song is "With or Without You."
So "With or Without You" is probably my top U2 song that's on this album, we'll say. Do you know the story of the guitar at the beginning? That it sounds like violins almost.
No, but do tell.
So, you might know the name of this brand more than I do, and I might have it wrong. There was a Japanese Fender ripoff. I think it was like Takeshi or Takashi.
Takai?
Okay, I'm totally butchering the name. But they knew that the Edge was into effect, like a lot of effects on his guitar, and they were designing this prototype Infinity guitar. The Infinity guitar was so that the sustain would just go forever.
It's like the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
like they're building a guitar for Thanos.
It's actually the Yellow Stone. You don't realize this. But anyway, so that really haunting string sound is the guitar. Oh. And for the longest time, I thought it was like a keyboard or like a synthesizer doing a really crappy violin sound, because it holds on for so long.
Well, there is a guitar effect that's called EBO.
Right.
And yeah, and that mimics the sounds of like strings and whatnot. But go on.
But anyway, so there's only 2 of these guitars that were ever made. And the Edge owns one, and I think it's either Brian Eno or Steve Lillywhite, whoever the other producer for this album, and they own the 2 guitars that can make this sound, which is insane if you think about it. There's a piece of equipment, 2 people own it in the world, and it's used on a song that is universally known.
No, you're right.
You're trying to find this guitar, aren't you?
I see. Daniel
Lanois, that's who it is.
Lanois, and his infinite guitar sustain. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super cool though. To even just like, like screw this. I'm building a guitar.
Yeah, I'm going to build a guitar that makes the sound and it plays forever.
So good.
But also,
so it was Takai as well.
Okay.
Based on a Takai copy of the Stratocaster.
Yeah. So the other thing about this song is that the bass line for this song is so good. It's so good. You don't even know. And then the drumming in it is it's simple. But he's just like, he is hitting that drum so hard. Just that.
Me personally, this is one of my favorite songs, because I don't know why. I don't know if it's that infinite guitar or like the sustain and then Bono's lyrics coming in, but it's one of those songs that moves me.
Yeah.
Like, out of all the U2 songs, something that like a real feeling that I feel a wave of emotion, when I hear that song.
It is. And another thing that I've heard about this song is that the lyrics that Bono originally wrote for it were stolen. and he came up with these on the spot. And if you're coming up with this on the spot, you got a gift. Because
That's true.
I don't think I could. I mean, I don't really write lyrics to anything, but I don't think I could sit there in a million tries come up with something this good.
And those other ones could have been, I'm not saying whatever to Bono, but they could have been crap.
Yeah, I mean,
And just by fate, it was the lyrics were stolen, and then that came out of that. You have this.
yeah, you have that, and it's actually really funny too. Is that when it's performed live, there's a third verse that's sometimes added.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I think it makes the song better. It's kind of a treat for whoever's in the audience because I think he changes it up when he does it.
Okay.
Maybe there's some of the original lyrics that he remembers.
That's what I was wondering. Maybe.
But it's nice, you know.
Well, going off on one slight tangent, you talked about a third verse. You've probably heard of the "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," the original version.
Yes.
So that has an absolutely third verse as well that no one knows about really, unless you've listened to the anthology album or whatever. It's almost a totally different. It is a totally different song basically, except the lyrics, and it is a treat to hear something that you don't really get to hear that's out of the norm from the most popular song. You know, it's fun to hear, and that's cool hearing that about you two as well.
Yeah, they kind of add they add stuff live, so it's never they're not just playing the album when they do it live, which is good because again, you've heard these songs a million times. You want to hear them live, but maybe you want to hear like a little flourish here or there.
Like, you don't want to hear it that it's just exactly like the album.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple concerts on both sides of the spectrum. One was like Jack Johnson, where I love Jack Johnson, but it literally, he did not differentiate from, or, he really just did not even stray away from the structure of the song at all. And it was good, but I mean, it was almost a little boring as well.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side, you have the Counting Crows, who completely redo Mr. Jones. Have you heard that version?
I have not.
Oh, I'll play that for you in a little bit.
I'm interested to hear it.
It's totally different.
Right.
So, but I think this is a really great song, and all the lyrics are good as well. For me, it's the first two lines of the album.
See the stones that in your eyes. Yeah.
See the thorn twist in your side. And I don't know why, but I've always related it to like a religious. I don't know why I did, kind of like Jesus. Like,
no, I get you. I think a lot of people do. I do to a certain extent. I think it's probably. I mean, I don't know exactly what the song is about, but
yeah.
When you question your faith, if you have faith, and I mean, even if you don't have faith, you've probably questioned it at some point. And you're thinking that there's certain things that you can live within that faith, and certain things that you can't live without in that faith. And I think that that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And also like the religious aspect that U2 bring in a lot of their songs. It's there, but it's not like proselytizing in a way.
No, absolutely. It's subtle.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, where you can question some things and you can look into it more, but it's not blatantly telling you this way or another way or blatantly saying it.
Yeah, it's not telling you that you have to believe what they believe to like their album. You're going to be able to relate to it either way.
Yeah.
With or without. No pun.
All right, so let's keep moving along.
Yes.
So let's move on to the next one. Next song is "Bullet the Blue Sky."
Yeah, this is a jam.
Yeah, once again talking about grooves. I just love the way this song moves and keeps going forward, and I love the bass in it. I love Adam Clayton's bass in the song, and especially with the drums. It just kind of pumps you up a little bit too.
Yeah, well, I think this is a song about, again, not to be overly political, but it's a very political song. It talks about just how dirty the U.S. is in a way. Not to be overly political or stand on a soapbox, but it's a song about selling arms to and and propping up other governments that maybe are doing shitty things to their citizens.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 80s we sold weapons to Iran and Iraq, and now we're you know wars with one, and we have politicians who want to go to war with the other.
Yeah, where that's all they want
Yeah.
really want to do is war is a business.
Yeah, and we sold weapons to regimes in South American countries, and now we get now there's people in the U.S. who are pissed when people try to emigrate here or come here trying to find a better life. After we've pretty much fucked their country.
Yeah.
Can I curse on this?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
Felt real bad there for a second.
Oh no. I've been a lot worse on my previous podcast.
There's that whole the spoken word kind of bridge that's in there. It's a lot about the Reagan era, just buying and selling arms to people, and it kind of makes sense there. That's the other side of America. There's all this promise, and then there's some really crap things that we've done.
Yeah, we've done some pretty shitty stuff.
Yeah.
And not even to delve deep into what we've done as a country or what our government has done.
Yeah.
And not done.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely see that, and they pack it into maybe that, I don't know. I'm trying to think, maybe lyric wise that ties into that feel of being obviously a political song, but like being like sticking it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's there. What the song is about when you hear the lyrics. And you can hear it and you can feel it too. Like that song has a certain feeling, and it's the rhythm section. It's the guitar that just kind of, whines on, and just, it doesn't sound like a jet engine, but it's loud, and
yeah,
it's there. And the lyrics are really poetic, but they let you know that some crap has gone down and it needs to be known.
See, my dog's even pissed off.
Yeah, Charlie, he's angry.
Oh,
Clint Eastwood up there.
Clint Eastwood up there.
Get off my lawn.
I saw a dog walk by.
Well, there you go. Now you know what happened.
All right, so now that my little dog man has calmed down, my little Clint Eastwood has calmed down, my Gran Torino has calmed down. Now we can talk about the last song on side A, which is "Running to Stand Still."
Yeah, this song is depressing as hell. I know people think it's beautiful, but it's really depressing when you look at the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now.
Apparently, like in the late '80s, heroin was getting really big in Ireland.
Okay.
And it's a song about a heroin addicted couple.
Oh, that's no fun.
No.
Thanks, Bono.
Yeah, I mean, musically it's beautiful, and lyrically it's kind of beautiful, but when you look at it, it is depressing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It sounds a little depressing. Do you think it was the best song to end side A on?
I don't know. I mean,
because everything else is an A+, I would say, so far on the side A. This would probably be my reasoning to not the best side A. Or how do you feel about that?
I kind of feel like...
Or do you think it's needed?
Well, you've gone up, and...
We're going to drag you down.
I don't know if Bullet the Blue Sky takes you up any higher, but it definitely keeps you on that level of...
Yeah.
These songs are great. And, maybe that is the song that lets you know that, like I said, the working title originally was To America. So maybe it's letting you know that we're about to get a little bit darker.
Okay.
A little bit dirtier.
Because I will definitely have you speak a little more in regards to side B, because even though I've listened to it, I'm not as familiar with a lot of the songs.
Right.
But
yeah,
we can delve deep into that a little bit.
Well, they're not the ones that you hear all the time on the radio, so there's that too.
Yeah, you have those the deep cuts.
They're not the songs that make it to the best of albums. So
Yeah, but I mean, obviously in some people's eyes, they are the best.
they're
They're
beautiful songs.
Exactly. So, some people really enjoy some of these other songs that aren't as well known, because sometimes people get, and I'm definitely to blame as well. Like, I might hear things too much on the radio. You get sick of it for a little bit.
Yeah, there was a while that I couldn't listen to the side A of this album because I listened to it so many times.
For me right now, it is my daughter's watching Coco, and I love that movie.
It's really good.
But we've watched it like 20 times.
Yeah, I don't think I could watch it more than, twice.
Twice a day at least.
Okay, well.
And I'm a blubbering idiot and I cry every time. So, and like she comes in and it's like, Coco. I'm like, we're putting Coco on the back burner for just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, give it a few hours.
Yep.
Because as soon as we're done, she'll be like, Coco again. I'm like, no, not again.
No, we need to take at least a half an hour because this is not something that we can watch again.
Yeah. I'm like, we'll put on Despicable Me 3. See, that's not like that's
Why have
even
they
any
made 3
better.
of that movie? I don't understand that.
I don't know. But as a parent, I've come to like them.
Okay.
Strangely enough.
I mean, maybe if I had kids, I'd relate more, but
because before I had kids, I was like, Despicable Me 3, or Despicable Me, and even like the Minions. I was like, oh my God.
I don't understand the Minions at all. I know that's an unpopular
But since
opinion.
I have a child, my view has definitely changed on
Bring me
things.
those little yellow bastards.
Pretty much. I'm like, I love them now.
Yep.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's go on to side B of the Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
So this starts off with Red Hill Mining Town.
Yep.
And go.
So Red Hill Mining Town is a really good start to side B, I think. And I think that if you want to talk about the working title of the album, of Two Americas, this is where you start to see, another side of America after Bullet the Blue Sky and Running to Stand Still. It's a song that is about a mining strike in England in the early 80s. And it's just a lot of people saying, I'm working in this mine. I'm not going to have the same life that, my parents who worked in this mine have. And I think the same thing was happening in the U.S. at that time, too.
I was just going to go back.
It's still happening in the U.S.
Yeah.
to this day, where you have mines shutting down and people being like, well, we're not going to have those jobs anymore. And
well, we could even delve a little deeper into where we're at in Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania is where we relied on so many jobs with coal mining
and steel, yeah,
and
coal and steel.
But even going in a little more, even to like the Molly Maguires and the Irish community that was, obviously up in northeast Pennsylvania as well, where obviously we had that movie and whatnot, but even just Irish,
Yeah.
So you leave one country and then you go to another and you're working yourself to death.
Yeah. You're working yourself to death, and you're maybe not having as good a life as your parents have, even though you assume that the job would be there for you, or you would have a better life because wages should go up and stuff like that. And it didn't happen apparently in England at that time. It hasn't happened here. It doesn't happen really around the world when you think about it with that type of stuff. So I think it's a good song. It's kind of a cautionary tale, but again, it's got a nice groove to it. That rhythm section just holds everything together on this album.
So it's the only song that I see in within the notes with the lyrics where there's a thank you. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it says, thanks to Paul Barrett and Soundtrack Services. I don't know. It was the only note that I saw, like after any sort of lyrics that U2 had. So I just didn't know. Probably just thanking them for recording them or something.
Yeah,
So next one is In God's Country.
Yep. Again, it's supposed to be about the U.S. Midwest/West. It kind of has that sound to it. From what I've heard is apparently at this time Bono was hanging out with like a lot of people who were pretty influential, like Bob Dylan and Keith Richards, and people who were just really into that Americana sound,
Yeah.
and kind of just was like, we don't really know that much about the roots of rock, hence the
Okay.
gospel that's in part of the album, and some of the country western feel of this song. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
And I could be wrong because I'm just trying to. I might be getting my songs mixed up. Is this the one where Bono plays harmonica on, or is this a different? Is there a different?
He plays it on a couple. I think it is on this song.
Don't quote me on it, but
I'm trying to remember now. I want to say yes, but it might be Trip Through Your Wires. Actually, I think it might be on both.
okay. Yeah, I can't remember, but I just distinctively remembering. I was like, I like this harmonica a lot in the liner notes.
Yeah, hang on.
Bono did the harmonica on
Okay.
this album. Doesn't specifically say what
Yeah.
what song it was, but
Yeah, it doesn't say that there's any harmonica on this. I looked it
okay.
up.
So could be
I think it's Trip Through Your Wires.
okay. Well, to the next one then.
Yeah.
Trip through your wires.
Yes.
In the distance, she saw me coming. I was calling out. I was calling out.
Yeah, it's a weird song. It has a very I've never understood this song. I still don't.
I like these lyrics. Angel or devil, I was thirsty and you wet my lips. I don't know why. I just really like those lyrics. I just really like those lyrics, and maybe it's my fascination with things saying angel and devil and
Right. I mean, I think everybody kind of enjoys that type of stuff. And this is the song that Bono plays the harmonica on.
okay.
Because I have a note that I was talking about is that I don't know what an auto harp is, but apparently on this song, it's played through all of the Edge's delay units and amps.
That's cool.
And it has that's how that organ
okay.
sound is.
You'll know it if you saw it, and I'm gonna.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you've seen these. Okay, yeah, those are cool sounding stuff, and I guess if you play that through some guitar pedals, that actually would sound pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, especially if you're playing it through the Edge's delay pedals and everything like that, it's gonna really resonate and come out sounding like an organ. So that's what that is.
Okay, that's cool. And like I said, like with the harmonica, like I don't know why, but I was just like, that's some good harmonica playing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, like, but just in my head as I was listening to it, this morning, I was like, not bad.
Yeah, he busts out the harmonica a lot. And he does it on Desire, which is on the Rattle and Hum, which is, pretty much the tour movie for this tour, for the Joshua Tree tour. So yeah, Bono's an okay harmonica player. Who knew?
Who knew?
He also plays some acoustic guitar on that, I think.
Oh, that's cool. I'm trying to look. There's just
at least live when they've done it, he has. So
oh, cool. So the next one is One Tree Hill.
Yeah, which is a beautiful song. It do you know the story of One Tree Hill?
I do not, but I do just want to say there's like another like a little note at the end where it says Greg Carroll's funeral. I don't know if that had to do anything or not.
Yeah.
New Zealand, July 10th, 1986.
Yeah. So Greg Carroll was U2's roadie and Bono's assistant. And apparently at one point he was from New Zealand. So when they toured New Zealand for a previous tour, he had taken them on this, out to see like sights and everything like that. And there was this one tree on top of a hill. I think it was more of a mountain than hill, but anyway. And everybody thought it was really beautiful, so he took them to see it and everything like that. And so apparently the band hired him, and he went to, I think it was in Dublin, but it might have been New York City. But anyway, he was out running an errand on Bono's motorcycle, and it was raining. I don't know that it was raining. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that it was raining, and a truck hit the motorcycle, and he was killed. And so a couple of the band members went to New Zealand for his funeral and accompanied his body back there. And the band felt really horrible and was just ready to kind of give up for a while. But they decided that they should go ahead and make this album and dedicate it to him. And this song I'm not sure if they sung it at his funeral or if it was written for him, but it's really a nice song about loss and friendship, and I'm pretty sure that it's the last line of the song. If it's not the last line, it's within the last verse of the song, where it says something like, "I know I'll see you again when the moon shines over One Tree Hill."
Yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you again when the stars fall from the sky, and the moon is turned red over One Tree Hill. We run like a river to the sea, like a river to the sea.
Yeah, and I just thought that for anybody who's ever lost somebody, I think that that is a feeling that you have, and a hope that you have that you'll eventually see them again, or
No,
in some
yeah.
way, shape, or form. So
You are very knowledgeable, and I'm
I
so glad that you were here so, to talk about this.
it's an album that has had a lot of effect on me, probably good and bad according to some people.
Oh, that could be with anything too as well.
Exactly.
So it's all good. Okay, so next song is Exit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a spoken word kind of. It's not really spoken word, but Bono's not doing his singing voice fully that you're used to.
Okay.
And actually, I think it's that he's reading from some novel, but I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe you want to look that up.
Get the research out,
Yeah,
aka my cell phone.
you're going to bring up Wikipedia there.
Yeah, let me see.
But I know that it was basically some sort of jam session, and they just really liked how it sounded.
Okay, let me see. Let's see. Joshua Tree. I added up it. And obviously, I'm never prepared. usually I have I print out my Wikipedia notes so it looks like a hot mess of being a hoarder. It's really bad. But
Yeah, I mean, I just have little notes in my notepad here, as you can see.
so let's see. Yes, the lyrics. And this is coming from Wikipedia.
Okay.
So if you ever watch Loudwire on YouTube or
Yeah.
they have things Wikipedia fact or fiction.
Yeah.
So don't quote me on it, but whatever. It's what I just heard. This is what I just heard. The lyrics, which portray the mind of a serial killer, were inspired by lead singer Bono's reading of Norman Mailer's 1980 novel The Executioner Song and other related works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a dark song. Like, it even sounds dark. Like it like I said, like I really think that they went with that two sides of the US type thinking for the album, and you have that first hopeful side, and then it gets real.
It
gets real.
They're like, we're turning this car around.
Yeah.
We're going down that road.
You don't want to come here. And I mean, there definitely are parts of the US where you don't want to go, so.
No, absolutely. It's just kind of true. And, like you said, bringing back that duality of America the Great, yet
America the crap.
America the impoverished, and
yeah,
and that's just it goes back to to so many other places, other countries where you have kings and queens that sit on a gold throne,
yeah,
and yet their subjects or citizens of the country are starving and are in squalor.
Yeah.
So
well. I mean, if you think about it, though, because, a large percentage of the U.S. is people who have come from countries where that has happened, like where the roots of the U.S. are from, other than the native people of this country. You have a lot of people coming from Spain or France,
I mean,
the U.S.
That was the whole American dream, to come over and to make something for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you realize, you realize to a certain extent that it's not always the dream, but at the same time, there's people that come over here with nothing and rise above and make themselves into something, and really a name for themselves.
Yeah.
you talk about, I don't know, this is just so stupid for me to say, but just going over, like, I was watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And, a guy, it was a Vietnamese restaurant, and the guy came over from Vietnam with literally, like, $15
Yeah.
in his pocket. And that's all he had. And he built himself up this restaurant, and to that sense, that is the American dream, too.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, to an extent, Where the Streets Have No Name is the American dream. Like, you can do anything, because where you're from doesn't matter here. Like, I think that is kind of the beautiful part of America. And I would hope that when they say that, there's two Americas, that's the one that we eventually become.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
I think we have one more song.
Yes, last song, Mothers of the Disappeared.
Yeah. I can't listen to this song without tearing up a little bit. And I know that sounds, really dumb, but
I literally just told you I sobbed like an idiot at Coco.
yeah, I do realize that. There's a lot of it. But
so there's no shame. There's
yeah,
no
no.
shame in feeling that emotion.
It's a song about in the, I want to say like 84, 85. U2 got really involved with Amnesty International and a lot of aid groups.
Yeah, and that's literally right in here too.
Oh,
on the liner notes, it says join Amnesty International, and it says Irish section, British section, USA section.
Yes.
So
it's
so obviously, like you said, that was important to them.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the song, or a lot of the songs on this album kind of came out of that. But it's a song that was inspired when Bono and his wife went to El Salvador, I want to say. El Salvador or Nicaragua, one of those two countries, where there was a lot of political unrest. And they met this group of like parents whose children had become not political prisoners, but had been just kidnapped overnight and killed for their beliefs or, their politics, I should say, not beliefs. Basically just government or military forces just coming in, kidnapping and killing their children. And they would meet in a plaza of some sort, I believe. And they would just hold photos of their children who had been murdered. And to live in a country where you can speak out against the military or government, I think that's one of the beautiful parts about the U.S., but that we probably take for granted too often. But if you just think about from the perspective of, a mother or father who lost their child because their child spoke out, or maybe even the parent was the one who spoke out, and so their child was
they
taken
took it out on their children.
I think that has to be something that is thought about and taken very seriously and watched for. And the fact that there is a song that speaks to that is beautiful and something that I think people should experience and know about.
Do you feel like this song was the right move to end the Joshua Tree?
Well, here's the thing. I think it is, but because side A ends really kind of depressingly with Running to Stand Still, a song about a heroin addicted couple. So probably, I mean, it's the best way to end it, but it is not the song that I would choose to end it on. But I don't know how I would have redone the album.
See, that's the thing, though. I'm going to say something a little crazy. You could have ended side 2. I kind of feel like with Where the Streets Have No Name, because that kind of brings somewhat of a positivity where you're looking for the country that has that on that flip side,
Well, I was actually gonna say that I think that could have been a much better ending point, but at the same time, it's such a beautiful song to start with just by that building.
Exactly.
So I don't know, but also the fact that there's a lot of B-sides that didn't make this album. That, I mean, maybe if that was the case, then you wouldn't have ended with Mothers of the Disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, or they're really just trying to. Not that they were trying to, but have an emotional impact as as you ended this album, of leaving you with a lasting thought
Right.
or something to think about.
Well, then, and if you think about it, like, I mean, you were what? You were probably 3 at the time, and I was like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 5 or 6 when this came out. So we don't really remember the 80s as much, but like, just think about the politics of like Ronald Reagan and like Margaret Thatcher over in England. So
Reaganomics.
yeah, Reaganomics and stuff. So you had like people that were seeing great gains with, the stock market and, greed is good and all that. But
Yeah,
you also
yeah.
had, ghettos that were just basically falling apart and stuff like that. So
Like you said, bringing back the whole duality of everything. Like you just said, that whole motto in the 80s of Wall Street and greed is good.
yeah, yeah. So I think that maybe that is the best way to end it, because that is kind of the side of the 80s that won to an extent, was the crap side.
And kind of would make you want to, think about that and want to take action
Yeah, you
and do something.
if you end with something that is depressing, kind of like that, or not really, it's not even depressing. It's just one of those things that when you think about, you're like, oh well, what can I do to change that? You're gonna get up and do something because it's the last thing that you heard.
Yeah.
So to an extent, I think that it is the best way to end that, after going through all that and thinking about it that way.
Because then right after like I said, right after those lyrics, it has the contact info for
Yeah.
Amnesty International.
Yeah, it's telling you to do something.
So here's what's going on, and here's what you can do to do your part to help out.
Yeah, to help fix it. So yeah, I think it is the best way to end it.
And as for us, I think we did pretty well. I think we delved pretty deep, somewhat.
I would hope so, and I hope that I didn't make any of this stuff out of my ass.
I will say I probably did.
What?
But what are your top 3 for the Joshua Tree?
I do have this written down because I knew you were going to ask me. Let me get to my notes. All right. So my top 3 were, and do you need them in an order? Or do you just not?
No,
Okay.
I mean, it's whatever you feel, whatever you want to do.
All right. It is. This is in no order,
Okay.
but Streets, Where the Streets Have No Name,
Okay.
Bullet the Blue Sky, and Mothers of the Disappeared.
That's very good. No, I hate to sound so generic or whatever when I say that, but I mean, you're kind of on the same lines as me, where I would say, like I said to you before, like With or Without You, just because it has, I don't know, for me, it strikes that emotion with me.
Mm-hmm.
Bullet in the blue, bullet. I keep saying bullet. I want to say Bullet in the Blue Sky, but it's not.
I kind of wonder if somebody covered it and called it Bullet in the Blue Sky, and that's why people do it.
That's why.
Because I've heard a lot of people say it that way.
Bullet the Blue Sky. Like you want, I think distinctively, grammatically, you want to say Bullet in the Blue Sky, but
That's true.
I think that's just my brain operating that way. But I mean, you could even just go with the first 3 songs of side A.
You really
and
could.
be good. But no, but I would definitely say those 3 are awesome. Like I said, I haven't really delved as deep as I probably should into side 2, but I'm gonna re-listen to Mothers of the Disappeared and
Yeah, it's a haunting song. Like just I don't know what the instrument is that they're using to make this sound at the beginning, but it sounds like what I would assume, like a wire fence.
Yes.
You know how that like sounds if you like just kind of hit against it, if it's wound really tightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the sound that it's got, and it's a really haunting sound. So I think that adds to that song. So you should definitely re-listen to it.
I am. I will actually write when we're done this. I will actually listen to it.
All right.
I want to get a take on just your thought, because obviously you're a fan of comedy and you enjoy stuff. So what did you think of South Park's interpretation of Bono?
I mean,
it's great.
it's funny. As a U2 fan, I love U2. It's a band that I will forever be listening to. I think, unless they, I find something really ridiculous out about them. But
Number 2.
I fully understand why people don't like them and why
Yeah.
they see them as, bloated rock stars. So
Yeah.
so
No, I no, I agree.
I
Yeah.
I can get that somebody would think that he's just droning on about when he you know tries to use his rock star to
No,
save the world, but it.
but you got to have fun
Yeah,
with yourself as well.
I don't think that I don't get the picture that he is not okay with laughing at himself. So.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny. I just laugh every time I see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Bono loves the beatty.
yeah, just him, running across the screen in that South Park drawn way, and
yeah,
and it's good, and like I said, if you're gonna be a rock star, there's probably a lot worse things you can do than
that's true.
Trying to get third world poverty erased.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just thought it was funny, and it's just like I said. I think I'm sure he probably thought it was funny, to a certain extent.
Or probably the rest of the band thought it was funny, and
but
he didn't like it.
There is that one story of Bono where he didn't have his hat. Do you remember this? And it got flown on a private jet.
I did hear something like that. But I mean, we all have our thing.
You're right though. Like everybody has their little quirks and stuff, but I mean nobody's perfect as well.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be a good person and do the best you can, then can't knock you for that.
Yeah.
So my last part of this is I have 6 quotes, and it's going to be: did Bono say it, or did Paul McCartney say it?
All right.
Number 1: think globally, act locally.
I think Ronald McDonald actually said that. I'm going to say Paul McCartney on that one, but I might be wrong.
You are correct.
Okay.
You are correct. So let's see. The less you know, the more you believe.
That's got to be Bono.
You are correct.
All right.
So 2 for 2.
Yeah.
If you pour your life into songs, you want them to be heard. It's a desire to communicate. A deep desire to communicate inspires songwriting.
Is that McCartney?
That is Bono.
Oh, all right.
Let's see. Let's see what else. I don't take me seriously. If we get some giggles, I don't mind.
I'm pretty sure that's Bono.
Paul McCartney.
Oh, man.
I'm getting you on these.
You are.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, last one. Actually, I don't know. How many have I done so far? Jesus.
That was 4. So.
Okay, I have 2. Okay. I don't work at being ordinary.
I'm going to say Bono, but I mean, that could be Paul McCartney.
That is Paul McCartney.
Wow.
And last one. As a rock star, I have 2 instincts. I want to have fun, and I want to change the world. I have a chance to do both.
Again, that could be either one of them. They're both. But I'm going to say Bono.
You are correct.
All right.
So not bad at all.
Yeah, I got 50%. I feel I didn't fail, or I did fail, depending on how you view that.
I'll round that up.
All right.
5 and above. Good. No, I think that was great. I had a great time talking to you about this album today, and I'm glad that we finally got a chance to get together and talk about it.
Yeah, we've been discussing it for a while now, so.
And I just wanted to state too that John did get his Who album. I recently did a giveaway, and how conveniently, and this was not rigged at all, I promise you. I did it live, and my wife spun the turntable. And it ended up being you. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I don't have to pay for shipping either.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It did help that there were only like 3 people who signed up.
Hey, but you had a 1/3 chance. It could have went to somebody else.
Yeah.
So.
It was that golden ratio that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. And my drawing abilities too.
Yes.
To do a little drawing on the size of a vinyl, of an LP. So, no, but I'm glad that you won it. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Who, and I'm going to be doing some more eventually. So, I thought it was really good, and I was happy you got it. So,
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you came. Do you have anything you want to plug, talk about, or people? How can people get in touch with you on social media, kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm sure Joe will be putting my Instagram and Twitter feed onto the thing when he posts this.
Yes.
We'll do that, and I usually like his posts. So if you're listening to that, then you can just find me on there.
All right. Awesome.
I get one thing I would say though about you two is that I fully understand that a lot of people don't like them, but I think that if they like music, and they just kind of want to understand the history of music, particularly for like the 80s and early 90s, you should definitely check into the Joshua Tree or Octung Baby because they're fairly important to rock. So
No, that's awesome. And like I said before, like I originally wasn't into U2. Like
mm-hmm.
even probably about like 7 years ago. But as musical tastes change, as you evolve and grow older as a human being, you start liking new things and you like to revisit some music as well. So
Yeah.
I would encourage anybody to really do that. If you really think you don't like something, just like getting allergy tested every 7 years or so, you should test out your music taste and see if it's changed at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a reason that they've hung around for 40 some years at this point. So
Oh, absolutely, and stand the test of time, really, and especially with the Joshua Tree.
yeah,
So, well, I thank you very much for being on the podcast.
yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Hopefully, I will get this up as soon as I can and not take forever to edit this. But I want to thank John for being my guest on the show today, and I will post his social media links on YouTube and SoundCloud. So thanks for being on the show, and thank everybody for joining today. So just remember what I always say: just keep spinning. All right, take care, everybody.